This is where evening news programs are supposed to review the year gone by. It's easy to resist the temptation, and we think we will. On balance, as usual, for another year, human beings made a mess of things. Why remember it? Better to summon up a little hope, take a deep breath, and start over. It is New Year's Eve in Rome, and the Pope, to whom 1982 gave more than enough of pain, both personal and spiritual, took a deep breath and said serenely that good will triumph over evil, and life will triumph over death.
With this vision of Christian hope that we begin the year 1983. May you have a peaceful and happy New Year.
We asked the leaders of all the important nations of the world to speak to you of their hopes for the new year. Understandably, some of them, like Hosni Mubarak of Egypt, are lost among the enormous problems of their own countries. But almost all spoke as he did when asked about their hopes for the world.
To live in peace and prosperity.
The Republic of South Africa is prepared to conclude non-aggression pacts with all its neighbors.
Even intransigent old Peter Willem Botha, the Prime Minister of South Africa, sounded conciliatory and hopeful when we asked him to speak of the new year. Even Garrett Fitzgerald did, who must face in 1983 the agony of Ireland.
The new Irish government intends during its 5 years in office to lead the Irish people away from division and to seek a breakthrough in the tragic political situation in Northern Ireland. To achieve this, we shall need this support of all the people of this island, the cooperation of the British government, and the sympathy and aid of our friends abroad, especially you in the United States, to whom I wish well for the new year.
It is New Year's Eve in Ottawa. The closest friends of the United States, we found, are afraid for the United States and for themselves, and nuclear weapons are the source of the fear. Prime Minister Trudeau of Canada thought he saw in the nuclear freeze movement of 1982 a hope for the future.
Even if it is limited to the countries of the free world, this new expression of the vigilance of the people cannot help but inspire wisdom and moderation among those who hold the power of life and death over our planet.
Yes, agreed the President of Mexico, what the world needs is peace. And, said Miguel de la Madrid, from the capital of a poor country, a common effort to overcome poverty. But above all, peace.
De parte del pueblo mexicano,
on behalf of the Mexican people and in my own name, I wish all humanity peace, prosperity, and goodwill.
In Japan, we say that the course of a year is set on New Year's Day.
Prime Minister Yasuhiro Nakasone of Japan.
Above all, I want to share for the creation of a society where people's hearts are in harmony, a society of love.
It is New Year's Eve in Paris.
Les deux superpuissances
François Mitterrand warned against the superpowers overarming themselves. It is New Year's Eve in London. Prime Minister Thatcher spoke briskly of practical objectives.
I think if we do those things, defense is sure, run our financial affairs in a sound way, keep alive the habit of enterprise, because it's the creative people, you know, who produce the jobs for the rest of us, and stick by our friends.
It is New Year's Eve in Rome. President Pertini spoke hopefully of peace and of compassion.
Sia consolidata la pace nel mondo.
Para el año 1983.
It is New Year's Eve in Spain, and the young, eager Prime Minister González spoke of peace.
Gilt der deutsch-amerikanischen Freundschaft.
It is New Year's Eve in Germany, and the old pro-Chancellor Kohl spoke of peace. It is New Year's Eve in Moscow. The General Secretary of the Soviet Communist Party said he would like to convey sincere wishes of well-being and happiness to each American family. He said Soviet people and Americans nowadays have one common enemy, the threat of war, and everything that intensifies that threat. Yuri Andropov also spoke of peace. It is New Year's Eve in Washington.
There's an old English proverb that says, If it were not for hope, the heart would break. So yes, of course, I have hopes for 1983. They're the same hopes that every president since George Washington has had. Peace and prosperity for all our people. I hope in the coming year that we'll be able to put every American into a solid and permanent job. That's not only a hope, that's my prayer. I hope there'll be a larger peace throughout the world, and that we will make progress in our arms control talks with the Soviet Union and finally begin the reduction of the tremendous arsenals of nuclear weapons that threaten all of us. And I hope the peoples of the Middle East will finally find an end to their long heartache. Lastly, I hope that in 1983, every American, indeed every human being, will fulfill the promise and peace that is within each one of us.
They all spoke of peace, every one of them, in every capital of the world.
New Year.
After so long a time, journalists, by reflex, become deaf to the statements of statesmen on ceremonial occasions. But this is the night for summoning up a little hope. Listening to all the statements of presidents and prime ministers as they came into our newsroom today, we couldn't help thinking, what if they all meant it? Happy New Year, then, to us all. Dan Rather will be back to start 1983 with you on Monday. I'm Charles Kuralt. Good night.